Hey, I'm Vernon Felton, Senior Editor at Bike Magazine. We're in Central Oregon at Bike Magazine's 2015 Bible Bike Test. And today we're talking about a very highly anticipated bike, Yeti's SB6C. It's the replacement for the popular SB6C bikes, and it has an entirely new system on it. It's got the Switch Infinity link. We're going to get into that. It's a longer, lower, more enduro-rific version of the bike before. It's interesting, though, because the bike, the 66, the bike it replaces, was pretty damn good. The real question, to some degree, is not only how does it stack up against other all-mountain bikes and enduro bikes, but is this an improvement over a bike that was already pretty impressive?
For sure.
I think definitely it is.
Yeah, I actually am one of the few people that had more criticisms on the SB6.
You were a hater.
Maybe not that strong, but it wasn't my favorite. And the reason is because I felt like the rear end would get caught up in really stutter, bumpy stuff, like really repeated hits.
Yeah.
It would get caught up and feel like it would lose its suppleness, right? And Yeti also recognized that same drawback, which is why they started designing this new Switch Infinity link. And it's a vast improvement. It's way more supple. It sits higher in its travel than the 6.6 stuff did, and so it gives you like a nice climbing position. Right. So like its neutral position is a little higher, right?
Right.
And I feel like it's insanely supple on all the little tiny stutter bumps. Like it's a lot better on the top end. Yeah. But then supportive once you do get deep into it and like really start to push the bike.
Well, I was talking to Chris Conroy, and the way he put it was that the 66 would sag in and then just kind of stay there.
Right.
But you're losing that top end sensitivity to small bumps, and in fact, this thing does climb like a champ.
Yeah, but here's the rub. Is what happened to us. We have to mention it. We broke a couple rear ends.
Yeah,
Two rear ends. One on the seat stay, one on the chain stay, and they're basically right in the center of each. And you could call them flukes because it wasn't a manufacturer's defect. It was our fault. Like, we crashed the bike, it impacted on some rocks, and it broke the carbon, right? Yeah. This could happen on any bike.
Yeah. And it does.
It does. Like, we've all broken
4 chain stays.
It happened on my Enduro on ride number 3.
On your what?
It happened on my Enduro on my 3rd ride.
That's right.
Yeah, no, chain stays.
It's heartbreaking, really.
Yeah, they're kind of chain stays and seat stays are kind of weak links in a sense.
It's like the testicles of a bike, you know. I mean, it's a thing you're constantly wanting to protect. It's vulnerable.
You kick them, bad things happen. Yeah.
It's just it's unfortunate, but it's replaceable. You can get a new one. Yeti offers a 5-year crash replacement policy.
Exactly. So you get the parts at basically a dramatically discounted price.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks that bikes break, but bikes break, and and we did break 2 of them, but there's also the fact that
everyone wanted to ride it. Every single person was riding it, including people,
including like the non-testers and like the UPS guy. He wanted to ride. Like, everybody looked at this bike and wanted to hop on it. It was the most. You could say it was the most popular bike of the whole Bible this year. So it's seen more use and it's seen more crashes than the other bikes have.
Let's get back again to why it's the most popular bike, right? It's because it friggin' rips.
It rips.
Yeah,
I
mean, insane.
Honestly, I heard all the marketing speak about it's better than the 66, and I thought it was bullshit. I was like, no. Yeah, I don't think how because I'm not saying
before you wrote it.
Well,
we were telling you.
You weren't. I just thought you were full of it, man. I was just like drinking the Kool-Aid.
Oh yeah, we always drink the Kool-Aid.
Because it's like the other bike was really good, not perfect, but really good. And I was like, yeah. And then I got on the bike and I was like, dude, you're right. This thing slays.
Yeah.
Absolutely the fastest time on the Edison. I was just like, it felt. I don't want to say like a downhill bike, but it gave me that level of confidence. I started looking for big things to pop off, and just feeling so controlled, and it just,
it does changing your line choices, just going.
That's
I'm
the
gonna go
biggest,
there.
most formidable section of trail. That's where I'm going, right there.
Yeah. Where you could just like skip entire sections of trail. You're like, I'm just gonna hop over this corner because I can.
It's insane. I mean, I think that it's 65.5 degree head tube long. It's a 24.8 inch top tube on this thing for a size large. short stem. It's got the right geometry. You know, they could shorten up the rear end. Admittedly, 17.4-inch chain stays. You know,
It's their choice, though. I mean, it's like Yetis. All the Yetis I've ridden have had a little bit longer chain stays. You know, and that's fine. That makes the bike really stable at high speed. It's just, I mean, it happens to be my preference to go for a little bit shorter stay, so I can more easily manual the bike because I suck at manualing.
It's a beautiful bike. The way we have it spec'd out with the Shrem X01 one-by system, and again the Fox 36 fork is $7,400.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. It will be available by the time people see this as a frame-only option.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have the pricing on that yet, but there will be that if you want to spec it the way you want. That said, and this is the lower. They also a lower of 2 build kit options. They have an XX1 version as well.
Yeah.
But this is I couldn't see any reason, frankly, to upgrade. You had the Thompson Covert Dropper, stealth routed seat posts. Again, the X01, Shimano XT brakes, which are excellent.
Yeah.
DT Swiss wheel set. I didn't see a weak link on the bike. I don't know.
Provisions for Shimano DI shifting.
Yeah.
It's available. It's
True.
It's kind of a nice touch.
Yeah.
Did you guys find that it had a strong suit? It was better descending than climbing.
I think so. I think it's a really good climber.
Yeah.
But I do think, and I think that's in keeping with this genre, though. I thought it was a good climber, but I thought it truly shined on the
I
descent.
do too. I mean, in my notes, the thing I have written down is cornering. I felt like it really shined in the corners. That's where I had the most fun on that bike, was in the corners. It had just a perfect amount of oversteer dialed in for just awesome roosting on that thing.
Yeah.
That's where I really felt it. But I was like you also, that I prefer a little easier manualing and wheeling with a little shorter stay. It takes a lot more effort to get the front wheel up. It's not quite as playful, and but when you're just going fast and keeping that front end down, it corners like a boss.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Infinity Switch for a second, because it's a crazy...
little guy?
Yeah, that little guy.
So it looks
The hoo-ha,
it
as
looks
they
a
call
little
it
crazy in the bike. Everybody probably kind of wonders what it is. It's pretty simple though. It's really a link, and what it allows, instead of rotating on an arc like the Switch did,
Right.
this allows the link to move vertically, right? So these things move at the same time, and this thing here goes up and down vertically, and these 2 pistons are fixed in the bike. And there's no air in it. There's no oil in it. It's a sleeve with a bushing. It's very, very simple.
Because it's
It's
intimidating.
also really, really light. This is actually lighter than the Switch link.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
It looks intimidating.
It looks big and
at
burly,
first
but-
you think, oh crap, there's this.
It just
whole
does look
other
like a shock.
It looks like another shock.
I thought it looked like a little 2-stroke motor. I'm like, where is that thing going to take me to the top?
Well,
Yeah.
it looks super complicated just when you're glancing at it. You think, oh, it's going to collect a bunch of mud, but Yeti's had one of these on a test mule forever.
Yeah.
And has not been maintaining it, and it's held up. And when you start pulling it apart, it is incredibly simple.
I mean, that's a big concern, is how is this going to hold up in the in the mud and the
Yep.
conditions, and is it going to require a lot of maintenance? I
We
mean,
have
Simon,
some-
that's still your concern. You're
No,
still
not really. No, I mean, I like how simple it is, and then grease fittings, right? So they've thought about it, and time will tell. Like I think for myself, I'd like to have this in sort of those really caustic environments, like the desert or in the Northwest, and just to see how it holds up. I think one of the cool little thing about this bike is that it is available in extra small.
Oh, yeah.
How super cool is that?
Yeah.
So you can
Yeah.
be 4'11". That's what they have in their sizing chart. I mean, that's
That's
awesome.
cool.
Offering an extra small, I think, is awesome.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Props to Yeti.
I mean, if you want to know more about this bike, check out Bike Magazine's Bible Bike Test issue. And if you want to see more bike test videos, check out bikemag.com.